Grog.
Hey everyone, it's a Sideshed podcast with me, Peter Fickling, Matthew Weir, and live, as promised, from Woolloomoollara Malinga Malonga Maloo on the outskirts of Corundar Creek, it's Keri Warbis.
Get your hand off my penis!
Good day.
I tell you what, it took a bit of effort to get that out, and that was one take as well.
Well done, Peter.
Thank you. Yeah,
It's nice to speak to you.
yeah, you sound like you're in the other room. How is life on the other side of the planet?
I love Sydney very much.
Yeah.
Indeed. It's what a great city. Yeah, everything works. Everything seems all clean. There's fresh air, sunshine. It keeps showering this week, but next week it's going to be hot all the time.
Lovely, cheap, amazing sushi, and
Yeah.
lots of
Food
great
is cheap.
Asian food. Yeah.
Yeah. I was down at the Opera House having lovely seafood and rosé the other day. Went to Bondi Beach, burnt my legs. Off to Manly today because at the moment it's 5:50 a.m.
Well, thank you, Matthew. Sorry, thank you, Keri. That is appreciated.
No, you can thank me too. I mean, I'm off to Manly right after this podcast, but that's a whole other show. Have you been to Coogee Beach yet, Keri?
No, we haven't.
Coogee is my favourite.
Okay, I'll ask if we can get there.
Add that to the list. Come on, Matthew. Use your punning brain to do some kind of clever segue from Coogee to the Archers. You can do it. Come on.
Could have probably done one from Manly to the Archers, depending on who we're starting with.
Yeah.
I mean, Harrison actually sounded surprisingly kind of like unusually matter of fact and to the point when he dropped the bombshell today, didn't he? Friday's episode we just listened to. Rob Titchener's coming back. So let's have an advert quickly and then we can get stuck in. So yeah, poor misunderstood Rob Titchener has been spotted in the country. All he wants is to hang out with his little smasher, hang out with Gideon, and everyone's getting in the way. That's the take, isn't it? That's what everyone thinks.
Peter, can you do your sort of impersonation of Harrison and what he was saying about this storyline that you did before we started recording?
I can't even remember. What was it?
You sort of went, "Oh, Helen, I've got some bad news for you. That storyline everyone's been waiting to happen is about to take place."
Yeah. Look, Helen, I've got some bad news. The listening figures have been through the floor, and we've had to break the glass match to Titchener. It's necessary. We're down to 3 million. That's how it feels, though, isn't it? Like the scriptwriters had such a terrible week that Friday, halfway through, they were just like, "Yeah, okay, smash the glass, release the Titchener."
I don't know, because it's all contributing towards the fall of Bridge Farm, isn't it? Because you've obviously got this other thing rumbling on in the background where Tom and Natasha have sold their souls to the devil.
Yeah.
They've signed up the twins for this photo shoot, and because Tom put the twins on the blog quite a while ago, this open day led to lots of people talking about the twins. It got 2 mentions this week, wasn't it? Most people were interested in Nova and Saren, and someone's going to spot it at some point, aren't they? And I was thinking about the fact that you know how all these ethical companies, they flee away from companies like Fox News, and it's only the unethical ones like the My Pillow guy and stuff that still advertise on Fox News. Well, this Schaefer Bass company, we know that they're well dodgy, agrochemical company. So you have to think, where are they going to advertise? And I think it's either going to be The Spectator or GB News, which I think Justin inhales both of those, we know, doesn't he? He has a subscription to The Spectator, because Jim always has a peek at it before he used to give it to Justin in the shop. One evening he's going to see Nova and Saren on TV, watching GB News in the ad break. He's going to be the one that breaks it. He'll go up to Pat and be like, "Oh, I saw the twins advertising Hitler nappies."
Hitler nappies, brought to you by Schaefer Bass.
Warning, Hitler nappies do not successfully hold shit. They are non-biodegradable and have also been known to explode.
Yeah, and Pat and Helen are so happy at the moment, or they were until tonight's episode, that bubble is just ripe for bursting, isn't it?
Could it be a red herring? Could it actually be that the twins and the constant posting of their photographs becomes a way of Rob Titchener kind of keeping an eye on things? Like actually all of this new social media stuff is actually giving him the intel he needs to kind of sort of stake the place without actually getting up close and personal.
What, like he's going to blackmail them?
No, just that he doesn't need to, rather than creeping around or renting one of the one of the houses on the estate. He can, he just logs in and he can see little Gideon there playing in the background. He knows their routine. He can start to know their routine. He knows their comings and goings because they're starting to document their lives. And this could then become a kind of a side plot about the perils of social media and how to kind of protect your family using Rob as our kind of.
That's a much better idea. Yeah, but I think what they're actually going to do is in about a week or two's time, Pat is just going to discover the truth. Well, she asked Lee at one point, she brought up the modelling, and Lee was like, oh yeah, what's happening with that? And Helen went, Lee?
Yeah.
I don't think Lee even knows that it's a shitstorm, does he? She was just like, she talked over him. She never apologised for that later. And then Pat was there saying, with all these new attractions and people will be able to walk through Adam's edible forest. We're going to have a good spring and it's going to be really put Bridge Farm on the map. And then the music started playing and you're just there like going, ha, ha, ha. It was like when George said later in the week, this is going to be the best birthday ever. You just know it's all going down the shit house.
Also, these new attractions. What? There aren't any really, are there? There is a window, that's it.
Yeah.
And people are flocking suddenly. And
oh, you know what's going to happen?
Is he going to appear at the window?
Yeah, he's going to appear at the window. Helen's going to turn around one day and Rob's just going to be like death staring down.
Asking a question through the intercom.
Yeah.
Hello, darling.
Yes. How do you make those curds?
I went to a place that I guess is what Bridge Farm are aiming at, down Keri's way, near towards Brighton in Sussex. Yeah, so they have the amazing shop where you buy all the stuff, and it's all based around the idea that everything there you can buy on the farm. And they did have this moment where it was like, okay, well if you go around the back now, the milking's going to start. So Cyrus was only about like, I don't know, a year and a half, a year and 3/4 old or something. So we all went round, but it was so different to the way it's being portrayed in Bridge Farm. It's just a bunch of people like, oh, I guess I'll stand here for 30 seconds. And, oh, look, it's some cows, and then we all just wander off. But the idea that sort of punch-ups are going to be breaking out as people try and vie for pole position at the window so they can ask Barry and Susan questions.
That's how it's being portrayed, isn't it? And Pat made some clumsy comment about the web getting a lot more hits this week or something. How they talk about this business is just pathetic, really, isn't it?
But Lee also said, we know it's a cheap thing for the summer holidays. What, to go and stare at two women making cheese? And Helen sounded genuinely surprised that the children normally run off, but the adults hang around. And at one point, some poor bunch of sods ended up with Adam when they had to fix the machine. And they went, Adam would keep them entertained.
I did think it was quite nice of Adam to admit and apologise for the fact that he sounds like a washing machine. That was good. You just heard the end of the sentence, did you? A washing machine.
Yeah, which sounds like a cycle on your washing machine. I was like, yeah, he could so easily be talking about himself, couldn't he, Keri?
Yeah.
No, it's an easy mistake to make. I wasn't having sex with Charlie and the Romanian boy at the same time. No, it was one after the other. No. Anyways, so just giving his full life story through the intercom. Actually, I suppose Susan won't be doing that. Using it like it's more just like a little sort of chit chat.
I was just going to say, did you not think that Rob was in Grey Gables
with the knocking of the noise, the pipes? Yeah, and then they saw a torch, didn't they? Yeah. Sending Morse code. All very
Is
spooky.
He in there, hunkered down in one of the refurbed rooms?
I always hated Rob. Nothing to do with him, being a... By the way, let's just be very clear. Very, very down on spousal abuse and all the terrible things that Rob did. But you can separate that and like how he arrived as a character and how it all develops. Like way before he was being very unpleasant to Helen, I deeply disliked him just as a person. But then, as I've said before, as things went on and it got more and more boring, I started to root for Rob in a kind of weirdly sort of perverse way. So if he does come back, I'm quite looking forward to hearing him again and hearing some of his like bananas interactions with people and like hopefully was it Jim who really got stuck into him?
Justin,
wasn't it? Yeah.
When he came back begging for his job, there was that whole thing with Stefan, wasn't it? Could possibly Stefan give evidence against them about the flood when they blocked the culvert? In the end, he said, like, I'm not giving you your job back. And he went, well, I wouldn't want it anyway. And it's like, you just fucking asked for it, you incel prick. Actually, yeah, that's a good point, because a lot of people have been going on about this whole toxic masculinity thing and what's happening with George. And George seemed to have ever closer ties to Bridge Farm this week, which we hadn't heard before. We know that his father works there. And is there some lazy storyline here where in the end, you see, George, Rob is a bad man, and that's why you don't have to be like him?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Oh, sorry, you mean Jack, don't you?
No.
No,
he means
I mean George. George has been hanging around,
making films and
helping Helen, and
Have I gone completely mad? I thought, isn't Gideon Jack?
yeah.
Jack and Gideon.
yeah,
Yeah, so
I said George.
Matthew means
I thought,
that, you know, a mirror will be held up to George, who is quite close to Bridge Farm, who's supposedly wayward, and they'll go, look, that's what happens if you carry on as you are. You turn into
okay,
Rob.
okay, all right. Well, you know, there you go. Proof that leave all that in, Matthew. I think it's important that people know just how stupid I am.
But
That, you know, it's only thanks to very careful editing that I've only appeared slightly thick over the last couple of years.
George isn't that wayward anyway. For a 17/18-year-old lad, he's not really doing anything wildly terrible, is he?
I mean, there's no way. It's not a particular sign that you're a wrong, and that if you're bragging at 18 that the girls are going to be all over you. Loads of kids are going to claim that, even though it's not factually true. And like, we've all had friends like that, and everyone else just, as soon as they walk out the room, everyone goes like, "Yeah, right," you know. And
being a prick is not, you know, immoral.
Yeah.
You know,
No.
it's not. It's the point, isn't it?
And he,
You
I
know.
mean, it's a bit stupid to burn hash in a taxi.
Yes, that was a bit
Yeah,
daft,
that was
wasn't it?
bananas.
There's no need for that, really. Just wait till the taxi's pulled up, then do it.
Can we talk about Pat with a gun?
Yeah, that was exciting, wasn't it? Hearing her cock that, whatever it is that you called on a gun.
I feel like we should almost have a jingle for that. I'll try and work on one.
Patchat. Patchat.
Will it be Lee who uses the gun that he was unusually seeing in Pat's hands?
Oh,
He knows it's there now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Lee's a lethal weapon, though, isn't he? He's, you know, martial arts head to toe.
You can take him down with one finger in the throat.
Yeah, I hope this finally, Rob, just because we know that Rob's quite a kind of physical, big man. I hope this finally puts to rest all this bollocks that martial arts is any use. And it's like the scene in Indiana Jones when you've got the guy swinging his sword around and Rob just walks up and punches Lee straight in the face.
Yeah,
It's like,
maybe
yeah.
Rob will shoot Lee.
Yes. No, that's it. The whole village Rob just murders the lot of them.
That'd be quite fun, wouldn't
One
it?
after the other. Oh, I'd tune in for that. Yeah. You'll have to pay for those biscuits now. They're damaged, Rob. No, I won't. Bam.
I had visions also of Rob just getting Lee's hand and just bending his fingers back, doing some sort of really pathetic thing.
You're
And
hitting
Lee going,
yourself. You're
"Stop."
hitting yourself. Oh, so leave me alone. You're hitting yourself.
They'll go through every location. They'll fight. It'll be like an end of a video game. They'll fight through the reconstructed Grey Gables, battle
Through
on
the
Bridge
village shop.
Farm. Yeah, one of them will throw the other one through the viewing window. They'll be like tearing up the edible forest. Then Lee will be punching him in the fire pit in their back garden, and eventually Rob will drown him in Joy's hot tub. Hey, speaking of which, that whole thing with Joy a few weeks ago, there was no mention of Mick, was there? Mick's been like
No.
quietly forgotten in the whole of the Brian stuff.
I mean, that is true to life, but do you think they would do that? Just like let a character wither and die off mic?
Well, they got trouble with the number of characters they can have on mic at the moment. Have you noticed how many people they're just like, oh, they're just in the other room doing etc. And you're like,
yeah,
I think normally we'd have heard from them. Do you notice, Keri, you probably noticed at one point when they brought up the will and Adam was getting a bit testy, Brian said, I'm just going outside to get logs. I thought Adam was going to say, "I'm right here, Brian."
I didn't hear that. That's excellent. Well, because obviously time is all wrong, isn't it? I can't. If I was tweeting when I was listening, it'd all be no one would be reading them.
Yeah, I stepped up briefly when I had some free time this week, and it was the episode where they did the treasure hunt.
Oh God!
And I did put out a tweet that got a few likes, which was there once was a farmer called Tony, whose son was an organic phony. He loved model trains, which caused bedsheet stains, and his wife Pat was well fucking moany.
I thought of you in Morrison's car park, which is where I seem to listen to the Archers these days. And I thought, I bet you Matthew's going to have about 5 of these on Friday.
No, that was the only one. I just put that out
Right,
and
yeah.
I'm done.
As if two kids would buy a bloody guidebook as a gift for somebody.
It was very, very odd, and the clues. The way I don't like to criticise the writers and the actors too much, but I did think that the way the clues were written to sound like they were done by children, but also quite kind of clever. It was way off.
Oh, they were very thick at not working out the boot scraper, weren't they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Susan had to come in.
Yeah. If Susan has to explain something to you, then
it's
not your finest
obvious.
hour.
It's the boot scraper, you pair of twats.
I like the way that they've break all the syllables up of Lee's daughters' names now when they're doing the rhymes, because they said soon. What was it? Soon you'll be flying over the blue sea to see Mabel and Evie. Maybe that'll help Ryan Early remember their names.
And it was when I heard that, I was like half asleep listening to Evie and was thinking of the electric vehicles.
I know. Yeah, I'm surprised Evie is still messaging, because where is she charging herself these days? Now she's gone to San Francisco. She was getting juice from Justin before.
So I'm filing all of my. I'm not going to do another rant, but they've triggered me about 5 more times with the news from San Francisco. But I will. Yeah, I'll wait another month. I think we've all had enough of my San Francisco related pedantry. But yeah.
Yeah, well, there was a bit last week which I think I meant to mention to you, Peter, where Lee said they're living in this big house with a big hill like you see in the movies and a bay window. I was like, really? I don't think they are.
Absolutely not. Anyway, sorry, that was the thing. Yeah.
I was just going to say about Helen also. Did you notice that she was talking about Henry being down near the swings or something and immediately thinking he was smoking?
Skate park.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure about what he was up to, which obviously with Rob.
Have you seen anyone smoking in Sydney? Did you see anyone smoking in Porto, Matthew? Like when we
what
cigarettes,
in terms of like
joints, weed. So when I lived in London, I would smell. I think Matthew and I talked about this off mic last week, but like walking around Lewisham, I would smell people smoking joints all the time. But I never saw anyone smoking a cigarette.
Everyone smokes here in Porto in terms of cigarettes. It's the norm.
What about Brighton? Because anyway, the point is like
Brighton, you can smell clouds of weed from time to time.
I just don't see children.
Yeah, I mean that too here, but it's the same here with weed, but weed is decriminalized here, so
I just don't think you see children.
I mean that you saw that video I sent you the other night where I was out having a beer at sunset. Like, I mean, you can just get passively stoned sat there. It's just so unbelievable.
So yeah, is she gonna stop Henry going to the skate park? Is it locked down now for their household? Probably, isn't it?
It's tricky, isn't it? Because I mean, obviously, it's a bit like the whole. I mean, obviously, he's not stranger danger; it's Rob Titchener danger. But how long can you keep that up for? Trying to keep kids under lock and key.
Will she have to show him a photo of Rob and say, "Look, this guy. If you see him, run."
Daddy Rob. Yeah. But if he wants to learn a kind of a quality cover drive, then Rob's the man. Pass on some good cricketing knowledge. I don't know. I just can't. I'm sorry. I know I'm being very glib. I just give the bloke a break. He might have changed. Might have turned over a new leaf. New cuddly fun Rob.
Yeah,
Peter's nailing his opinion to the mast there. He's the case for Rob Titchener.
I think I still haven't recovered from the plot the last time. I still haven't quite. I can't take it seriously because it was so farcical. It's a bit like the whole thing with Jenny recently. It went on so long. The Jenny thing hasn't finished yet either.
It didn't bloody end. She reached out from beyond the tagine this week and caused more misery with the will.
I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, would you do that without any explanation at all? And some people have said, "Oh, someone will find some explanation note in a coat pocket down the charity shop, or floating in a bottle in the in 10 years' time, or something."
Have either of you ever been disadvantaged by a will?
No, but I look forward to it in the indeterminate future.
Yeah, because I anyway, I can't go into any details, but I did. People near to me and myself maybe have been sort of disadvantaged by a will in a really unfair way.
Me and my brother were as well. That was annoying.
But the point is that I'm well within my rights if I wanted to be sort of like, I guess, a little bit put out by it. But I did think it. But I did quite like the scene today with was it Kate and Adam, where they were kind of like, yeah, do you know what? If that's what Mum thinks is best for Martha, and that's what she needs to do to try and take care of a particular child, then we need to sort of be less selfish about it. And I sort of like, I was like, yeah, you can't get eaten up by these things, can you? You just got to roll with it.
The thing is, they were so close to the truth so many times, weren't they? Because they just kept looping back. There was that point where one of them said, "It's not about the actual money. I'm just angry they gave the money to someone else." It's like, well, you are angry about the money. Then. You cosmic twat.
But yeah, and Adam and Kate, yeah, it's all very well them saying that, but they were kind of going, oh, quite in a smug way, wasn't it? What we've got to be grateful for is that she didn't feel our children needed any financial protection.
Actually, now you say it like that, it does sound less good.
Fuck off. Yeah, and I thought they were feeding into Alice's whole fear about this is that what it is a judgment on her that she's going to fail at some point. I think, yeah, fair enough. And Kate and Adam are feeding into that.
Sorry, just to be very clear, I'm not like on Kate and Adam's side, but it did just remind me, like, that it's you. That it's a gift, isn't it? You can't be all entitled about it. Like, it's my money. This person who I was related to should have given the money to me. Like, at least they managed to find some kind of.
They discussed it. And reflected on it, which was quite revolutionary.
Yeah, they were at least thoughtful about it in a kind of reasonable way, rather than being all kind of grubby and grabby and just sort of jealous.
I liked the way that they just said, well, she must have just thought we were far more responsible parents. You cast spells in a teepee. Me and Ian pick fruit and sell pizza on a roadside, respectively.
I have yet to hear something they've done that I would call pizza.
I tell you something that ain't pizza. What the kids are cooking up at Helen and Lee's place.
Scone-based pizza.
Oh my God, yeah. Is that a thing? Have you looked it up?
It does exist, yeah. I've seen it in dessert form.
I'll tell you what I did try, based on Gordon Ramsay doing it on the telly, was lemon curd on pizza. Absolutely amazing, with like a creme fraiche.
Oh, I like lemon curd.
I don't want to talk about lemon curd, actually, because Keri was asking people for recipes of lemon curd recently on Twitter, and she singularly failed to notice that I posted on our Instagram a lemon curd slice recipe a long time ago.
Oh, did I? Sorry. I can't see everything. I can't read everything, Matthew. Don't take offence. But I'll have another look. So sorry. I've let you down.
I'm going to go all incel now, Keri.
Oh, thanks. I've had enough of that. Thank you very much. Not personally, but there's a lot of it out there, isn't there?
There is, yeah.
Oh, dear. I'm thinking about the window again and the people asking questions. When I was at the Sydney Opera House, she said smugly the other day, the guide asked if anyone had any questions. And this bloke, oldish bloke who was on his own in the group, said, when will it be demolished?
My hero.
What a knob. Oh, it was so funny. And the guy was like, don't think it will. What an amazing question. So they should ask that at the Bridge Farm window.
I think we all know the answer next week when everyone discovers that they're advertising Hitler nappies.
Hitler nappies, brought to you by Schaefer Bass.
Warning, Hitler nappies may definitely summon your evil ex-brother-in-law to your shite house organic farm.
What's wrong with the Sydney Opera House?
Oh, nothing at all.
Did you realise it was like had that scaly appearance until you got close up, Keri? I was quite surprised.
Those tiles, aren't they beautiful?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even know it was a Danish architect either. Bloody great seeing inside it. Oh, yeah. It was a wonderful tour, actually.
I've never been inside, just been outside.
That bit's good as well. Everything here is good. I might stay.
Oh, I can stop the timer. Half an hour exactly before Keri decided to do. Have you started thinking about the bar that you're going to start up with your mates? Like the full holiday fantasy.
Yeah. I know. We were sitting in the pub last night called the Wool Pack, 5 doors down, and we're saying, God, it'd be great to run a bar like this, wouldn't it? All of us were saying it.
Well, you could just all come over to Porto and run one with me, and that would be easier, wouldn't it? And we just call it the cider shed.
Okay. Or should we all go to Folkestone and run one with
No,
Peter?
Folkestone's only dry.
No.
Folkestone is absolutely lovely.
Hitler nappies, lovingly handcrafted in Folkestone.
I will not hear a bad word said about it. It's I'm very happy with Folkestone. I think it's a great place. Yeah,
Good.
lovely rolling hills, beautiful countryside.
I am so making a Folkestone jingle.
Well, I'm just a bit offended because we normally unrelentingly cheerlead each other. You know, your life in Porto, and then you come in with the diss.
It was not a diss.
I just meant it's in the UK, really. You know, it was either Sydney, Porto.
I don't want to live in your smelly fishy drug den, Matthew. How about that?
I don't live anywhere near Hull.
So smelly fishy drug den. So George in the back of the cab.
Yeah.
George and the ghost.
Yeah, what the hell was going on there?
Can I just say, before we go any further about paranormal activity, we made contact with the other side this week. The ghost of John Archer reached out to us.
Yes.
Sam Barriscale, who plays John Archer. Do you remember the old Venn diagram that I did of Neil Parrish, John Archer, finished off by a tractor?
Yes.
I said, you might like this. And he replied, niche and genius. And then retweeted it saying, the ghost of John Archer approves this message. We have been approved by one of my favourite characters from back in the day.
He followed us on Twitter as well, so maybe he'll listen to us.
The actor that plays Alistair liked the Instagram post as well. We're in good company.
And Harrison liked a tweet of mine as well. They're all swarming around us like flies round shit.
I mean, Harrison might be investigating something.
Oh, this could be Harrison's time to shine.
I did at one point where he was like, actually, Jolene, I've heard some very interesting things about Justin. And I thought he's going to bust the EV charging station, and he hadn't. Basically, his superintendent had told him that Justin was attending this business angel convention. And incidentally, that was the same superintendent. Do you remember she nearly sacked him because he sent Kirsty in to talk to Phil?
Oh, yes.
Almost like Clarice Starling in Silence of the Lambs.
Look, I can offer you a room on an island with a view. You'll get a walk every morning. And
Hang on. Peter, last week you criticised mine and Keri's Harrison impressions.
No, that was my Kirsty.
What? Oh, that was Kirsty.
That was Kirsty.
Okay.
/ Sean Dyche.
It was like Les Dawson.
I was extending your comparison. She was Clarice Starling being sent in.
The weirdest part about that was that the police did anything about anything untoward, really. They don't normally, do they, within their ranks?
No.
That is the problem with having a policeman as a character in the Archers. Is I'm not trying to be political when I say this, but it's not a cliche, is it? Like most petty crimes, it's just a form to fill out, isn't it? So all of the types of stuff he'd have to deal with in the village, just he wouldn't come across his desk.
Yeah.
Well, there was that moment at the end of the shakedown between him, Jolene, and Justin in Wednesday's episode where they kind of beat money out of him, essentially, didn't they?
Oh,
Yeah, that was a bit weird.
Crushing community spirit, that's what I'm going to say. Unless you sign this document, fucking talent scouts from the Met are going to be on to you next, Harrison. there's a vacancy going there.
And also, they're now going to be, their Eurovision party's now going to be associated with dirty money.
Yeah, I like the bit where he said, give us your signature, and he went, well, you didn't do anything. I wonder how many times Harrison's heard that when he's like, okay, just sign here. And they were like, but you didn't do anything, officer. He pulled up and he met George and bloody, which is going full circle to what we were going to talk about. George and Brad on the side of the road outside an under construction stately home. What you doing, lads? Oh, we're just going into town for his birthday. All right, right you are then. And he just drove off.
Do you want a lift?
You'd give him a lift, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I don't believe in sort of stop and search and profiling, but I think if there's any two people who deserve a little bit of a sort of like, a proper questioning, it's two teenagers on a deserted road, like you say, outside a building site.
Fascist.
I mean, for their own safety, like you're saying. I hadn't even remembered it was a building site, but
Yeah, they got in through like a tarpaulin covered window, didn't they? And started clambering around inside. And then George started recreating The Shining.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
There's a very good movie reference from Brad, Star Wars fan. What if Harrison had a bad feeling about us?
Hey, I tell you a good thing that's happening linked to the Eurovision party, though, is Rylan is going to come on the Archers.
I saw that.
Because he's going to happen to be passing through or something. He's going to be judging their competition.
Is he the new Graham Norton or something?
Yeah.
Right, okay. There you go. And listeners, that is all of my Eurovision knowledge used up in half a sentence.
Lordy got a mention this week.
Plus that. Lordy, plus that, plus Bucks Fizz. That's all my Eurovision knowledge.
ABBA?
Okay, fine. Yes. ABBA, Lordy. This is turning into what did the Romans ever do for us, isn't it?
Yes. Muppet on a string?
Yeah. Okay. Plus, Sandy Shaw.
Nolan sisters?
Okay. And the Nolan sisters.
Boom, bang, bang.
It turns out I know everything about the Eurovision Song Contest.
Everything you need to know, yeah.
Yeah.
So Rylan being on it. I'm just looking forward to Rylan's appearance on the Archers. We love a celebrity appearance on the Archers, don't we? It's either Princess Margaret or Rylan.
Do you think he'll be... So who has been a good... So Annika Rice, I thought she was reasonably good with the kind of not being too wooden. Obviously, we're not talking about people who are actually acting. It's people as themselves, aren't they? But
yeah.
Do you think Rylan will be able to do some passable acting when he comes on?
Yes.
I think he'll be good at it. I think he'll really lean in.
He will. He'll be better than Toya anyway.
How long would Annika Rice have managed Jack and Henry's treasure hunt before she just went, oh, sod this, got in the helicopter and buggered off?
She'd have just understood the clues immediately.
This is no diss on Annika Rice, but it does show how kind of like our concept of sexiness has moved on over the years. Like I remember when Treasure Hunt was on, Annika Rice in her jumpsuit getting out of a helicopter was about as hot as a human being could be. Like it was like like men's trousers just exploding with lust. And
her arse.
Yeah, and then these days it'd be like oh look, there's she's going to go and do some grouting, and it should be like it's how they dress for a what's it called, like a DIY show.
All right, George.
Peter's turned into an incel now.
The opposite, the exact opposite. All I'm doing is pointing out that these days things are quite, a lot more, risky to be considered.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I know.
You two can f*** off. I mean, it's just
okay. On that note,
calling me an incel is lumping me in with a very unpleasant crowd.
I know, darling. And you're very much not a part of that at all.
I don't want to be the person who becomes the living in the overlap between the incel community and the Archers. That's a very bad place to be.
No. That's already filled. That position is filled, yes.
All right, should we have an ad?
Yeah.
What is there left to talk about?
I tell you what there is left to talk about, which will make you feel like it's all been worth it. Peter.
Mm-hmm.
Jessica Eisenman, who is a patron of the show, she messaged, "Thank you ever so much for introducing me to a succulent Chinese meal. Cramp-inducing laughs ensued." To which I just replied, "This makes it all worth it."
Yeah. Get your hands off my penis. You know your judo well.
That's what Rob's going to say.
Yes.
And Lee loves the Chinese.
Mr. Wen's special meal for two.
Keri, what's it like being in the home of the succulent meal?
I hope I bump into him.
And we joked last week, Keri, that you were probably working overtime, grabbing penises on your holiday.
I know, I heard that.
Yeah. Oh, Oh, come on then.
I haven't heard that phrase once, Peter, actually.
Yeah, get your hands off my penis.
Did you enjoy the lovingly made jingle for you, Keri?
Oh, that was great. Thank you.
I could just keep on happily saying that again and again and again about get your hands off my penis. It's just a very fun thing to say. I just
Was he also looks into the car, doesn't he, and said, "And hello, sir, are you ready to receive my limp penis?"
yes, he does.
He just keeps going, doesn't he? And isn't it some weird story that Interpol had told
Yeah.
the Sydney police, like he was like a bargain basement Carlos the Jackal they were looking for, wasn't it? And they said, that's him.
And it wasn't, was it?
But he was actually on the run for like petty crime or something.
You can go down the rabbit hole and you can find interviews with the guy.
He's a painter now, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very fun place to be for 15 minutes, is just researching the story and reading all the old articles. But
This is Democracy Manifest.
Okay, let's have a vote. Do you want this to become changed to be the Get Your Hands Off My Penis podcast? We'll just scrap the Archers. I can quite happily just we'll just see if we can track him down for an interview. We'll kind of like do reenactments.
Is he still alive?
Of last time of checking, he was. So I think we could probably get him on the show.
Where does he live? I'll go and visit.
Yes, Keri.
Yeah, you're right there.
I know. Let's find out. I'll go a knocking. I'll take him a Chinese.
Oh, its Wikipedia page is actually, it's not Get Your Hands Off My Penis. It's it says Democracy Manifest, also known as Succulent Chinese Meal.
Okay, I'll get on it. I'll find him.
Yeah, good work. Thank you, Keri.
That's all right.
So Twitter, we should post some of these links onto Twitter, shouldn't we? The Wikipedia page and the YouTube video, so people can actually make some sense of the last 5 minutes.
That's a good idea. Find us on Twitter at the Cider Shed Pod. It's been completely dead the last week. So,
Hang on, I did step in just to complain about the treasure hunt on Wednesday.
Oh, thanks, Matthew. I've replied to a few. I've tried to, but the timing is so whack that it just doesn't make any sense to do that. But we don't have any new reviews. So if anyone wants to give us a 5-star review, then please do so. The instructions on how to are always attached to the podcast episode info.
We have an Instagram, which is the same handle as Twitter, which is at the Cider Shed Pod, and we have a Facebook group called the Cider Shed Podcast. Come and join us there.
And a huge thank you, as always, to our patrons, patreon.com/the Cider Shed. We did our payout yesterday, and so Keri's having a good time. I think, as I said the other way, Matthew was at pains to point out didn't pay for a trip to Australia, but it's helping Keri in her trip to Australia. I've got my eye on a bit of biking gear, but anyway, yeah. So thank you very, very much, everyone. Really appreciate it.
And Matthew's hiring a floor buffer.
Yeah, Matthew, that is true. Yeah.
No, I had the most honest floor buffer ever who came round and said, I could do this for $1,000, but it would still look the same.
Looks pretty good anyway, I think. Yeah, football, anything going on? Has Chelsea got a manager yet?
Fat Frank's return to Chelsea is one of the funniest things that has ever happened in the history of football. Finally, I'm enjoying football chat. Like, it's just, it's so. I was listening to a podcast last night and I was laughing out loud at just how insane Frank Lampard's ego is that he would go back to Chelsea. It's
Is
bananas.
it third time or something?
Oh God! I mean, well, he's third time at the club because he's been there as manager, there as a player, and then now he's back as caretaker to the end of the season. Yeah. Any thoughts, Matthew?
I think you're unhinged, Peter.
Well, we know that.
I'm unhinged. I'm an incel. I live in a shithole. That's all fine because it's absolutely fine. That's all fine because I'm not Frank Lampard.
This is football related, actually, so I'm going to mention this. Scott Benton, who's the MP for Blackpool South, Conservative, he was the one that tweeted out a couple of weeks ago when Gary Lineker was suspended from Match of the Day. Best match of the day ever. Watched it and then had time to go down the pub after. He's now had the party whip removed, which is just terrible. And then I found out, in addition to that, he is a Spurs fan.
Oh, sorry, John Cooper.
That is as bad as you can be.
You want to know the table, don't you?
If anything exciting's happened, like.
Well, 4-4 Pooh is still number 1. Andrew Beasley in 4th. Audrey Cameron in 5th. I'm just going to do highlights of the movers, basically. Hugh Parker has gone up to 13th. I've gone down to 19th. Where are you, Keri? You've gone down to 14th. We've had a few new people join. So we went from a league of 22 to 25. So 3 people joined, which means in 25th place, relegate the Archers, Peter Fickling.
Yeah, but the name says it all. Perfectly happy with that. Keri, we're not going to have you next week, are we? You're going to be
No,
mid-air. You're going to be,
I'll be
uh,
flying.
yeah. So it's going to be me and Matthew. Hopefully, we can repair our relationship by then. Matthew upset with me about his beloved Chelsea. Me, my nose still stinging from the repeated insults. But Keri, thank you so much for getting up at bastard o'clock to come and chat about the Archers of all things.
It was so lovely to speak to you. I had no notes at all this week. I think I might do this all the time.
No, it's the best. Honestly, look, but when I used to make notes, all it was make a whole load of notes I never even looked at.
And then,
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes it helps it go in to do the writing of the notes. But
Yes.
yeah, I've now proved to myself I don't need to do any at all.
Well, it's 3 hours you just got back every week. Yeah.
I see what's going to happen here in the future.
Yeah.
Oh, Matthew.
Oh, Matthew, you can hold it together. You can keep the show on the road.
I will make notes.
Have a lovely week, guys. Matthew, looking forward to next Friday.
Good day.
Bring me back a box of chicken in a biscuit.
Oh, okay.
First of all, try chicken in a biscuit, then bring some back.
Brack up, probably. All right. I will see you in 2 weeks, everybody. Mwah.
Have fun.
See you, bye.
Ah, yes. I see that you know your judo well.